Namaste and welcome to class, and thank you so much for sitting with me with your undivided attention. And in this class we are going to talk about the 3 types of vision, and I have decided to make this lesson in 2 parts. One, a talk with me where you can take notes, reflect on where you are on this kind of vision, and another one, since we are still honoring the shamanic traditions, to have a conversation with Matthew and see where we are in the shamanic vision. What is it and how it works? So the first thing I want to mention is that vision itself can be from the feminine part or from the masculine part. But mostly what is reflecting our self-development comes from the subconscious and comes from the feminine part. And how it manifests, it really is depending on the level of frequency that you are in or operating from. So the first type of perception that the feminine can have is all about surviving. It's all about how you are surviving in this world that is threatening you, and this world that is unsafe, and this world that you need to be cunning, and you need to be calculating, and you need to be manipulating, and is based in the victim mentality, where you see that everything hurts you, that everything rejects you, and that you put any perception that, oh, in the beginning it may be nice, this relationship, this person, and so on, and then out of the blue you shift your perception and say, this person is rejecting me, therefore I have to have an operational surviving mechanism that is more or less based in your ego and based in wanting you to be small. So all that you perceive from that place is against you. And in that you are just putting, with every single distortion that you do in that, you're putting a veil over the pure and absolutely truth of your perception. So take note. It is a very simple and can be subtle. For example, the type of food. You say, oh no, this food is going to hurt me. This type of diet is not good for me. Yeah, the agriculture is doing that. The politics is doing that. This person is doing that. My partner is doing that. And therefore, I have to modify myself in order to match that kind of threat that the ego just so love it. Remember, the ego agenda primary is separation. The ego is designed to say, no, you are alone, you don't belong, and you are a victim, and you need to be super careful about everything. So with that kind of mentality and that kind of approach, your vision, again, is kind of the warrior-like, right? You need to protect it at any cost. The second type of vision is given to the doer. And it could be seen as a constructive, because you can't be foreseeing that, oh, this is the way of the house should look, the job should look. You have a kind of a projection that it can be constructive, and you're totally convinced that that is the kind of thing that is good and is the type of things that at the end you are going to invest all your energy. So the doer puts you in such a excelling and wanting to be perfect, and wanting to do, and wanting to pursue, and wanting to demonstrate that your vision is correct. That your way of seeing things is correct. Of course, the ego will love to impose this into others and say, I am right, I need to control you, to delicately or aggressively, you do my vision, you do what I think is correct. So the doer and the vision of the doer can construct beautiful things, but inside is this satisfaction that you are not really being seen for what you are, you're being seen for what you do. And nobody cares. Nobody really validates your work, even if you do. What you're looking is that you are validated for what you are, for the pure and absolute vision that you have about yourself. And in here, when you decide to not to partner up with these two types of ego demonstrations, one is reduction and the other one is imposition. Both are not going to give you the right and truthful vision of where you are, who you are, and where is it that you need to be guiding towards. When you let go of those attachments, where you are not saying, I am, I need to have this type of performance or visions, then you relax. You just simply relax. And this is key. You need to relax in front of your victim and your tyrant. You need to relax in front of their vision and their perception about you, because this is very far from what you are. You are far from the ego vision. And that is the beginning for you to start to take an out breath. So, okay, I can be a little bit more relaxed about these things. Then the third part, which is a very, it revolves and it have branches of vision. And in here, the first beginning is to see things for what they are. I usually put an exercise in my students of description of their reality for what they are, not for what they see. So, for example, if I am seeing this pine, then I describe the qualities and characteristics of this pine. So, okay, this tree is a tree. This tree have no branches, is in a triangular form, is green with tones of yellow. It has branches that is split in different parts, and so on and so forth. So at the point where if I am describing this to a blind person or to someone who is not seeing the tree, is able to reproduce it. It has to be neutral, accurate in what you see, and no interpretations, no assumptions, like, oh, this tree, it maybe lasts 2 years because it's in the pot, right? Assumptions, no interpretations, no agenda. Oh, I am using that tree to make a chair or to make some kind of utilization on it. You say, no, yes, it's a tree and that's it. And you are not involved in what you see. That's key, because sometimes what you get so identified, you're having the tree, and then say, oh, if I don't have that tree in there, then I will be unsafe. Or if I have this tree, everybody will acknowledge my tree, and so on and so forth. It have no involvement or relationship with you. It's a separate exterior projection of you, but it's not you. So with that kind of neutral assessment of your reality, and neutral assessment, the second part here is the neutral assessment of what are you feeling. You're feeling sad, that's it. You are not going to say, oh, I'm feeling sad because it's not sunny, because I ate this muffin, because my partner didn't look at me. No, you're sad, you're sad. That's it. No interpretations, no assumptions, no foreseeing, no agendas, no manipulations, no interest in wanting to be involved in that. It's so, so important. Practice that. It's not that difficult. It's difficult for the ego, but it's not difficult for the actual natural state of your neutral mind. When the exercise of the neutral description of yourself, the mind starts to relax even more. And with that, all the energy, remember everything is energy, all your energy start to be slower. It start to be even more in tune with the receptivity, which at the end of the day is a feminine quality. It's in them with the subtleness and the purity of the sight. You start seeing what we are calling the archetype mind, where you are seeing beyond the form or the intention that the form is in that particular moment. This kind of vision have absolutely nothing to do with the prediction of the future or what did it happens before. Is based in the actual description of the energetic reality now and here. And that is invaluable for any human. And I will tell you why. Because once you see beyond the form, when you see the energy at play in form, it doesn't come as a mind or a thought. It comes as a form. Matthew called it the archetype mind, and he probably will expand this a little bit. Where it's in images, in symbols, and forms that are very much related to the present moment of that person, of what it has been lived, and the present moment of the observer. Like, for example, when I am working in the garden and I dig for hours and so on, at the end of the day, I close my eyes and I see the energy of the roots, the deva of that plant that speak to me and say, oh, I need more water, or I have this medicine, or this served me as a that. Is a communion between the observer and what it has been observed. But this is not the interesting part. The interesting part is that whatever you are observing with that neutral, loving, truthful curiosity is shift. The energy shift. And this is where the vision is a tool for healing. It's not for a divination. It's not even for guidance, because it's not saying, oh, you should do this, or, you know, sometimes the students come and they say, oh, I have this in my meditation that I should go and move to this town, or make a call to this other person and introduce you to my friends. No, this is a pulse of a desire of the person, but the actual vision, it has no future. It has no expectation of any outcome. The power, the attribute itself is there as a healing and promoting energy. So whatever you see, you will see it with three aspects. One is it dissolves any tension that you have, muscular, emotional, mentally, like a gnat of energy. It start to start to relax. And when it relax, of course, the flow of energy in the body is much more present. So whatever you observe immediately shape differently. The second thing is that it will shape to a higher element, to a higher frequency. The hertz of the pulsation of that form, of what you are observing, is gonna rise. And with that rising, the receptor is gonna increase its perception of truth about that. For example, if I see the chair and the energetic chair, and the chair have a little broken thing, but that broken leg or broken chip is still there, is still part of the chair. By observing that with no assumptions, with this pure form, with a loving intention of just simply observing, it shifts. And somehow the completeness in that chair, or that chair will feel, and that statement is kind of beyond, the chair will feel complete. Your heart will feel complete. Your stomach will feel complete. Your organ will feel complete. Your children will feel complete, right? So, and this is very powerful, especially for the feminine, because it is in the feminine that we have the capacity to create matrices, the matrix of new and reshape, regenerate, revive energy. And the third part of that kind of sight is that it gives you a powerful feedback of where you are. So it's the observer looking at the energy transform, adapt, it balance in a loving, intelligent way with no intervention from the observer. And immediately the observer can see a new form, a new way, a new state of clarity of your relaxation. This process is very sacred, and it is actually played by God, where what you see or define as God, that force that seek to observe the different transmutations of the form and its parts, is witnessing us, and us is giving the pleasure of new forms, of new truth. And I say new truth not because it's new, but it's simply because it expands. That energy expands in a new space, in a new containment, in a new probability. And that is what pleases us. Is the expansion, is the learning, is the witnessing. But you need to understand that you do have this divine attribute, very, very, absolutely powerful, that is not only changing your reality, healing you, but also having a sense of security within you, that you don't need to rely on prognostications and what is going to happen. There's so much in the internet about this. So what is going to happen, how you're going to feel, the earth is going through this, Neptune is in this, and so on and so forth. Remain stable in your own sight, but understand the steps of the sight. Clear your sight from any ego sense. Make it neutral, pure, and stable, where you are trusting what you see. And I say this to females especially, because sometimes we are very clear, actually most of the time, of what's going on with us, but we don't acknowledge it and we don't act on it. We know that something has to change in the family, let's say, something you need to say to your husband or partner or children, especially children, and you don't say it. You know that you need to apply, let's say, certain discipline or certain rules or loose up your doer, but you don't do it. You keep in the automatic mode that is just simply harming your pure vision. The more you practice your pure vision, the more secure you are, because you feel contained, because you feel love, because you feel guided, because you are activating a very powerful divine attribute of love, because it's a loving act. It's a loving act to be present to that energy that is outside of you, which is you. It's intelligent because it readjusts without your intervention. It takes the higher form possible. It's intelligence. And it's alive. It's the pure flow of life in front of your eyes. You have the gift. Everybody have the gift. It's just when it's all entangled with your hidden agendas, when it's all entangled with your doing and your tensions and your forceful ways that it have to be my way, the only way, and so on. Or the insecurity, oh, should I do this? Should I not do that? It's, you play weak, you play nice. No, you have the power, and if somebody don't like it or need it, stay away. You don't need to impose your vision in something that is not of your business. That is discernment. It comes with the vision. You discern, you notice, okay, and what and when should I say something, and when it's not my business to say anything. Check by saying, okay, what is my interest in making that comment? Let's say if I say something to that person that I see that is not been asking me to say anything, but I say, you know what, you should do this or that or whatever. Double check. Do you want to be admired? Do you want to be friendly? Do you want to be wise? Do you want the doer to modify something? Or you are just simply in your compassion, know that that person is ready to receive certain advice or certain energy of you. Take care of your vision. Take care of your associations. Take care of your relations, because anything that you see internally or externally is a movement and it's a new birth. You have it. You have the power. So for now, I thank you very much for sitting with me, and I will look now for Matthew. He's probably climbing the mountains with my son, and when he come back, I will make him part of this question about vision. Thank you again, and I'll see you very shortly. Thank you, Matthew, for agreeing to sit with me. How was your walk in the mountain?
It was very good. Very, the trees are very dry. Everything is dry, completely dried out up there.
I'm sure when you were there, you were looking through your shamanic sight. What did you see?
Well, I looked at the countryside, and there were vortexes all around. There's these vortexes. It's as if something is leaving the earth, or it was difficult to exactly read exactly what I was seeing, which is often the case. You don't really know till afterwards. Except from the mountain, you could see our land here, which didn't have those negative vortexes.
The reason I call you to sit with me is because I want to explore what is the shamanic vision. You had another book that you call the
Artisans of the New Earth,
of the New Earth.
and it's that book is about developing the shamanic vision, or the shamanic way. The 5 tools of the shaman.
And your understanding how the vision is cultivated. What is the requirement for the vision, the shamanic vision? Talk about the archetypal language. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I've often used an example of how it works, of how the vision works. Like I've always had a certain vision. I would see certain things, and it was only with time and experience that I learned to take things as they were meant to be taken. Like, I was working with a fellow one time. This example I've used, and he was having problems with his practice at in his office, and I saw all these chairs on the side, and I described the chairs to him, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's the chairs in my office." And I described how they looked, and they were all on the side as if there'd been a war. And he said, "Yeah, it's been really challenging. It's been crazy." And then I saw a sailboat, beautiful, like a toy sailboat, that are made out of wood, but they have a real mast and real sails, and I saw it like from the horizontal line of the water, where you could see half the boat was in the water, the keel which was balancing the pressure of the mast, and a toy boat, a toy sailboat, beautiful toy sailboat. And I'd been at that point, I don't know, 35 years ago. Everybody was working. We were working about everything was blocked emotion. You were going to regain consciousness by moving emotion, which at the time it was true, And so I almost asked him, "Well, geez, when you were a kid, did somebody steal your sailboat? Like, did you have a blocked emotion about a sailboat?" And then I got it. Clear sailing. Like, it's a higher frequency than the frequency of the analytic mind.
I was very much in the present moment.
It's very much in the absolute present, and one needs to risk everything, because you don't know if it's real, what you're seeing.
Real in a sense that with what your mind knows, or have a point of reference.
Yeah, but it has to do with risk, and even even when there's, when the oracle reads somebody, they need a certain risk to be able to hear it. Because the ego can't go there. It's outside of the limitations of ego. It has to do with the presence. That's the first tool of the shaman, is the presence.
That emptiness of ego.
Yeah, the presence. In order to be truly present, we need to drop it, to drop the ego and the mind. And that's the scariest thing for people, because it involves a kind of a death, the shamanic death, it's called, the death of the ego. And yet, it's the same death that enlightened masters have talked about. It's not particularly the shaman's death, It's the death of the ego, where you're living in the present moment.
You also in your book talk about the observer and what is being observed, where the client is very much part of the vision and what is being offered.
Well, yeah, that's the fourth tool is the client. The client often for us has not been a person; it's been nature or the elemental world. Working with people, though, it seems to be limited to what they're willing to offer.
Like you only see what is being offered or what they are ready to.
You see what they're ready to show, what they're ready to see themselves. Someone who's very transparent and has a very rich iconography, then that person has more advancement, and other people you see very little. It's very flat and because that's where they are,
Yeah, so it's that relationship between the observer and I was talking to you guys about how when the oracle, when Matthew do the readings, and the moment that is being observed, it change, and sometimes
it can. It can be when the channel opens and the person is working with it. It's transforming in the present. They're actually moving with it, transforming. Because the archetypal mind is seeing the world from the perspective of spirit. It's an archetypal reality consisting of symbols and doors and sky, clouds, airplane, you name it, waterfalls, just
yeah, through your experience, you have kind of learned your own vocabulary, but the client also brings new vocabulary.
Yeah, and with time you learn to be able to navigate. You know instantly what it means. You understand the map, the language of spirit. The spirit doesn't speak to us with the rational mind. It's a symbolic, symbols, archetypes. It's a higher mind, and it's the world of what is the word? Just the duality,
It's a paradoxic.
It's a It's the paradox is the gateway where you can learn to access the higher mind. Yeah, so paradox is where the sign says no vehicles beyond this point. The vehicles are the limited rational mind, you know, where you can understand stillness in motion, you know, it has to do with the frequency, the lightness, the elevation, the altitude, where things are known.
And that is natural to everybody, because sometimes we think, oh, I don't have the vision, I don't have the capacity. But really it's because you're so involved in the ego mind. But once you go into paradox, we were talking earlier about neutrality, the neutral description of objects for what they are, and the no involvement of yourself, and the paradox where it's neither or. It's the way it is, and it's always a winning situation for creation.
And so it's not black and white, and it's not right and wrong. It's a different altitude, you know, that type of vision. So the archetypal mind is how we access that level of reality. It's the formative level of reality. It's the level from which our physical reality comes from. And it's formed by our beliefs, our limitations. So when we see somebody say that they're struggling always, you know, they're drowning, or they're putting themselves in limitation.
Yeah, because we have seen in the private sessions that you do, where the energy just transforms through the vision, and we can follow that vision in a way of a form of journey. But we can also have observed that the people ensemble themselves again, and what they were. So, oh no, this session, yeah, I felt this and that, but it didn't change. But the formative aspect is in your hands, because you're using the belief
But
system.
you see, that's it. It can change. The change can be permanent.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's the belief that it can't.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about, is that belief that limits us, that makes us bounce back
Correct.
to the old patterns.
Yeah.
Like we can reinvent ourselves every day, every moment, you know. And when we truly realize that, then it's a liberation. And our limitation is linked with our ego,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yeah. You also in your book have the voice, because it's something that once you have the vision united with the resonance, it forms such a powerful gate to the other reality, and you have the beautiful explanation and stories about the voice and the drums, and how it's been used in conjunction with the vision. Can you tell us a little bit how the vision and the sound works together?
Well, yeah, that's not one of the 5 tools, actually. The drum and the voice and the rattle, they are tools,
Right.
which we can use. The drum is very powerful. It's a loudspeaker to the spirit world. Without the drum, though, all you need is the voice. The voice, the resonance. When you work on it, when you develop the call, the prayer,
Right.
it comes from the heart.
A certain who you
It's the voice of the heart. It's the cry of the soul. In a way, it's when you're absolutely broken, and that cry comes from the heart, and the universe has no choice but to respond. And that becomes a signature. The more you do that, the more you journey with the voice. When you open ceremony with the voice, with the prayer, it's a recognizable symbol, or recognizable signature, like a passport for travel.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That one develops with time, with practice, and with you have to have absolute humility. Otherwise, it's just your ego talking, and it's not about sound, like sound training or musical training
Or voice training.
or voice training. Nothing to do with that. It's the place from which the voice is coming from.
Correct.
That's the resonance. And that has the capacity to reach out and touch other hearts. So, yeah, that's the call. That's the call of the shaman. Is the voice.
On the side. Well, Matthew, I thank you so much for your input in this investigation of the site. We come from different places, but we are saying the same thing, and we didn't talk before this. And it's just, hopefully you can understand from either perspective the beauty that you do have with your site and the power that perhaps we are not really utilizing it in this time. If you are interested in acquiring the second book of Matthew, The Artisans of the New World, just send me a note. And also, if you're also interested in a private session, I am sure that we are delighted to hear from you. Thank you so much for sitting with us, and I'll see you in our next lesson. Namaste.
Thank you.